Good afternoon, I'm Aina Koya and this is Breaking News. High Court Judge Thomas Masiku this morning set aside the Electoral Commission of Namibia's decision to deregister the Namibia Economic Freedom Fighters in June. This means the party remains validly registered in Namibia and can participate in the November election. Speaking to Namibian Sun, party president Epaphras Mkwilongo slammed the ECN for the deregistration, which he said derailed the party's campaign for upcoming elections. Because of the deregistration, Mkwilongo and his deputy Kalimbo Ipumbu were chucked out of parliament. ECN also deregistered the Christian Democratic Voice, which led to its leader Godhard Kandume being ousted of parliament. CDV did not challenge its deregistration in court. Now moving over to our next story. The European Union announced a €25 million contribution to leverage infrastructure investment in support of Namibia's green hydrogen agenda. This announcement was made at the Global Africa Hydrogen Summit that is taking place in Windhoek.
What a time. I really just bring a very, very brief message from our Minister of Industrialization and Trade who could not make it. But is really, really delighted by the show of support from our friends from Europe for Namibia. Some may wonder, this is really sort of an energy discussion. Why is the Ministry of Industrialization and Trade important? In fact, that ministry is critical. Our Ministry of Mines and Energy would provide the inputs for her ministry to then utilize to industrialize Namibia and create the goods that we're all looking to indeed trade. And in order for us to trade those goods, we would need to agree on the mechanisms of how we can measure the value, the quality, and the characteristics of those goods. And this is why she's extremely grateful, of course, for Team Europe, but specifically for the DNI in Germany, that will be looking to work with our NSI, our Namibia Standards Namibia Standards Institute, that will, of course, be looking to align on certification of the various goods that we are putting together and the standards that we will use to measure the quality of those goods. With those few words within my 1 minute and 13 seconds, really she would love to say thank you very much for Team Europe. And one of the things we did want to emphasize is within the government's Harambee Prosperity Plan 2, we've dedicated a whole pillar to international relations and economic diplomacy, which is, of course, the practical example of what we're witnessing here today. A friendship between two countries, at least between two regions, that will bear fruit in terms of advancing our socioeconomic development. Thank you so much for listening to us, and we now look forward to the next session. Well within my 2 minutes then, but over to you. Thank you.
And now also moving over to our next story, the Deputy Prime Minister of Tanzania, Dr. Biteko, urged African countries to unite and seize opportunities presented by green hydrogen in his speech at the Global African Green Hydrogen Summit.
The global energy landscape is changing rapidly, and Africa cannot afford to be left behind. We must seize the opportunities presented by green hydrogen to build a sustainable, prosperous, and resilient future for our continent. Tanzania is ready to lead by example, to innovate, to collaborate with other stakeholders, to make the vision of green hydrogen-powered Africa the reality. But this is not a journey we can undertake alone. We need collective will, commitment, and action of all African nations, development partners, and other global communities. Together we can turn the promise of green hydrogen into a powerful driver of progress and prosperity for the generation of Africa and the future of Africa.